Do you know the most heartbreaking thing in life? It's not that strangers hate you. Honestly, strangers hating you doesn't really matter much. They don't even know who you are. The most heartbreaking thing is when the people closest to you secretly don't want you to improve. It sounds a bit pessimistic, but try looking around. Sometimes, the person most annoyed when you progress isn't your rival. It's someone who once ate with you, talked to you, or accompanied you through a certain period of your life. The funny thing is, jealousy rarely manifests itself in the form we imagine. It doesn't walk into a room and introduce itself. "Hello, I'm secretly annoyed by your progress." No, it's much more subtle. It prefers to wear the cloak of politeness. It prefers to hide behind words of concern. It prefers to appear in the form of statements like, "I'm just worried about you," or "I think you've changed so much." Sounds perfectly normal. It sounds kind. But sometimes, underneath it, lies a completely different feeling. There's something psychology has pointed out long ago. People rarely envy those who are far away. We rarely wake up upset that some billionaire on the other side of the world just bought another private jet. But we can get annoyed when someone who used to be our equal starts to move further ahead. Because their success inadvertently becomes a mirror. And not everyone likes what they see in that mirror. That's why some people start to change when you change. They don't react when you fail. They don't react when you're struggling. But the moment you start to become more disciplined, more confident, and more stable, things start to change. They become less enthusiastic. They offer fewer congratulations. They appear less often. And sometimes, they start making strange comments that you don't even know how to respond to. The first thing you need to understand is that you shouldn't try to fix their feelings. This is a mistake many people make. They think that if they explain enough, love enough, or are humble enough, things will go back to normal. But that's not the case. Because the problem was never in how you behaved. The problem was in the battle going on in their mind. Imagine someone who always says they want to change their life. They want to be healthier, more successful, and more confident. But then one day they see you actually doing those things. Suddenly, you become a living reminder of what they haven't done. And this is the most annoying part for them. Not because you're ugly, not because you're boastful, but because your very existence is inadvertently challenging their excuses. The funny thing is, many people don't realize they're spending too much energy trying to be liked by everyone. They're trying to please everyone. They try to keep all relationships intact. They try to save everyone from feeling uncomfortable. But that's an impossible task, because you can't both grow and ensure that no one feels insecure about that growth. Stoic people understand this very well. They don't spend their lives fixing other people's feelings. They focus on their own character. They understand that not everyone will be happy to see them grow, and that's not their responsibility. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that you can't control other people's thoughts. Thinking about it, this is incredibly liberating, because so many people live as if it's their duty to make everyone feel comfortable. But the truth is, that's almost impossible. The moment you grow, someone will get annoyed. The moment you set boundaries, someone will call you selfish. The moment you start prioritizing yourself, someone will say, "You've changed." And sometimes, change is the best thing you can do for your life. This is when you need to learn something that many people only realize after years of disappointment. Not everyone can walk with you every step of the way. It sounds sad, but it's a very normal part of life. Because when you change, the relationships around you change too. And sometimes, what some people cherish isn't your true self. What they cherish is the version of you they feel comfortable being around. This is when things start to get interesting. When you stop explaining so much, they'll find it strange. When you stop apologizing for things that aren't your fault, they'll find it strange. When you stop seeking their validation, they'll find it strange. Not because you've become worse, but because the dynamics in the relationship have changed. And people generally don't like things that disrupt their familiar state of mind. There's a very interesting paradox. The older you get, the smaller your circle becomes. Initially, this scares many people. They think they're losing relationships, but in reality, sometimes you don't lose anything at all. You're just seeing things more clearly. You start to distinguish who truly supports you and who just likes your easily controllable self. The funny thing is, those who secretly dislike you often spend a lot of time watching you. They say they don't care, but they know what you're doing. They say your success isn't anything special, but they remember every little change you make. It's like someone constantly claiming they hate a show but still watching every episode. If they really didn't care, why would they put so much energy into it? Stoic people don't see this as a problem to be solved. They see it as a perfectly normal part of life, because anyone who is growing will inadvertently create distance from some people around them. Not emotional distance, but distance in mindset, habits, and life goals. And that's perfectly natural. There's another mistake many people make. They try to shrink themselves to keep others around. They stop talking about their goals. They stop sharing their joys. They stop growing so as not to upset anyone. But that's too high a price to pay, because in the end, the first person to be betrayed is themselves. This is something you need to remember. You weren't born to make everyone feel comfortable, nor were you born to become a smaller version of yourself just to maintain peace. People who truly love you won't feel threatened by your growth. They'll feel inspired. They'll be happy to see you better. They won't turn your success into a secret competition. Finally, when those around you secretly dislike you, don't get angry, and don't try to prove anything. Continue to live well, continue to grow, and continue to protect your peace. Because truly strong people aren't those who make everyone love them. Truly strong people are those who keep moving forward even when they understand that not everyone will be happy to see them progress. And perhaps the most thought-provoking question is, are you building your own life? Or are you silently shrinking yourself so that others feel more comfortable?